Hello, everybody. It is your baby boomer Kittee Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia, back with another Create and Relate Crochet with Kittee. Today we are working on our Stitcherhood donation blanket. It has not received the proper attention over the past few days, so we're going to do something about that today. Absolutely. I am currently sipping on my Folgers Black Silk Coffee with caramel macchiato and Cinnabon, both from International Delight Creamers. The yarn that I'm using is the Red Heart All-in-One Flower Power. Don't remember the colorway right off. I'll try to put that information in the description box for you. But I can show you. Ta-da. I know it's upside down and backwards, I'm sorry. There you are. And I can give you the colorway. It's called Cherry Blossom. Real pretty, real pretty. I am also tripling with this, the Mainstay Red and the Mainstay White. All of it is for worsted weight. I am using a Prim 6.0 hook. And the design that I'm using is my own, called Shells by the Bay. I will also try to remember to put that link in, as there is a tutorial as to how to execute this element. Some of you may be looking at this for the first time and wonder, it's a blanket, why so many holes? Well, these are going to survivors of DV down in Dallas, Texas. Need I say more? You want the feel of a blanket, but you don't want the suffocation of a blanket. Not going to Texas. Just a little bit of advice. When you're donating, keep your demographics in mind, not only who it's going to, but where you are. I wouldn't want to send a thick, bulky blanket down to Texas. Granted, they did have a strangely cold winter this year, but that's not typical for them. So, keep all of that in mind. So, for instance, if I was sending this to Georgia, it would probably be made the same. Now, however, if I was sending this to Washington State, I'd probably go with bulky. Yeah, I would probably go with the bulky. Or someplace like Wisconsin or the Dakotas or Michigan. Yes, I said Michigan. Okay, that one went in the wrong place. There we go. just to add to the clear up about a lot of misconceptions, lots of times when women are in this situation, or men are in particular situations, people ask, well, why don't you just leave? If it were that simple, many of us would. I said us because I've been there. I was one of the fortunate ones who was able to get out of that situation and found myself in that situation time and time again. It's not that you look for these situations, it's more like an invisible banner that you wear. So many variables play into how you end up in that situation. Usually the hold on. Okay, usually the perpetrator is extremely narcissistic. They are manipulative and controlling. You know, when you are with someone and they cause you harm, and you let them know that you're going to call the authorities, and they say things to you like, they can't keep me forever, and that invokes fear. And as strong as you may be, when someone implants fear in your psyche, that's a whole different ballgame. And it's no need to say that, oh, I can handle that, oh, I would see right through that, or I was raised by very strong women. My mother, my grandmother, my aunt, all very, very, very strong women. And to be this strong, athletic kid, young woman, you know, thinking that I can navigate my way through life and I don't, you know, none of this is going to happen to me. This happened to other people, but it's not going to happen to me. That's malarkey. Doesn't matter how strong you are as a person. It does matter how strong your constitution is. It matters how quickly you can recognize and navigate through the warning signs. Sometimes they're so subtle, you know, and sometimes it's just that the person you're with is so good at manipulating. So never discount a person. And never ask the question, what can you do? If you see something like this happen, you can remain anonymous and make that phone call. You can do that. So many times in my situation, I prayed that someone from the outside would. I didn't want anyone else to suffer any collateral damage. So I didn't want anyone to come into play. I don't know how much YouTube will allow the outage of this, because I could I could spill it for you, but and there's so many different forms of DV. Of course, there's the gaslighting. You know, they take everything that's wrong and make you feel like it's your fault. In one relationship, he quit his job, but the household still had to run, so I got 3, and I was pregnant, and he ran with his friends all day. Leave, I hear someone saying already. Put him out. Well, when you have the same last name and both of your names are on the lease, it's not that easy. And this time is 40 years ago. A lot has changed in 40 years. And then there was another one who we shared a lease but not a last name. And although the physical wasn't so much, it did happen twice. Oh, that's funny, because both times that the physical happened, he called himself getting ahead of the game. He went downtown and pressed charges against me. So when I got picked up, photos were taken of the damage that had been done to me. And of course, by the time it got to court, it was dismissed. No reverse charges. You know, my claims were just totally, and it kind of works like that sometimes. It's like a first come, first serve thing. Well, I can say that the laws are changing, but this was back in the early 2000s. So, and then there was one in between that. Oh my goodness, it was just bad. It was just bad. He was a bouncer, and I think he just used my household as practice. And that's where the fear came in. Oh, they can come get me today, but they can't keep me forever, and I know where you live. And then to say, why don't you just leave? Well, where do you go? Not everybody has an emergency fund that they can just pull from and uproot and go. Lots of times you run into situations where shelters are full because this is too common. It is too common. So where do you go? You go stay with a friend, you put them in danger. And I find that most victims are so selfless. If you see me reach out and touch you, those are the number of spam calls that I'm getting. We're 14 minutes in, and so far that's my second one this video. I've already received 9 this morning. And considerably speaking, this is, or comparatively speaking, this is far less than I normally get. My daughter and I sat here one day and cleared 151 for the day, and this was until 6 o'clock that evening. We didn't even count the ones that came after 6. Now for that, most of you say, ignore them. Try your phone ringing 151 times in a day. You answer, or even you ignore it. Your phone is just constantly ringing. So get a spam blocker, you say. Okay, well, I pay for 2 and I have 4 free, and it's not working. Any other suggestions? But yeah, DV can also come emotionally, especially when a person knows where your soft spots are and they play on those emotions and they make you feel less than. It can show up environmentally. It'll feel like they are turning the world against you. People don't look at you the same. They say things about how people will feel about the way you look, and nobody else will deal with you. Nobody else will desire you. Nobody else will want you. Those types of things. Financially, when they control the household. Oh my goodness, the one that I told you pressed charges against me. We talked before we secured the place, and we had a verbal contract as to how much each person was going to submit. The first month, they did their part, and we got in. From the second month through the 8th month, they did absolutely nothing. Part of the agreement of us, excuse me, getting the place is that there would not be any other roommates. Well, after the 4th month had gone by and he was not producing, I had no choice but to get a roommate. Am I doing that there? No. I'm doing it here. I got confused. That happens a lot. Yeah, so finally the 8th month comes around and they realize, after lots of communication, that we're behind. Nowhere near as behind as we would have been if I had not acquired the roommate. And their excuse was, well, you got a roommate. Excuse you. we were looking at 4 months in the hole. You were completely 4 months in the hole. I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul to make this work. But then came that day, and my advice to those who are in: some may ask, when do you know it's time? Oh, you'll know. You'll know. And I pray you recognize it before it gets any worse. My recognition came. It was weird how it came. I actually went home to visit my mom, and just to sit with her a while. I just needed to clear my head. And when I got up off the foot of her bed, I went out in the living room and laid on the couch and went to sleep. I got up the next day, took my shower, got dressed, and went to work. Never did go back to the apartment. Never got called and questioned. None of that. Wasn't trying to maliciously do it. It was just something in me clicked. Something in me said, enough is enough. So when I got off work that day, I went back to the apartment and I was scheduled to fly to Kansas to spend a week with my son who was in the military. And I packed my bag, had my my purse, and I go to my mom's house. And at this time, I'm married to the second one. Yes, even after he pressed charges. Long story. So he calls me 4 hours before time for me to leave. Because, you know, even back in 2009, you still had to get to the airport early. And he says, I can't take you to the airport. I guess you can't go. Something in my brain clicked. And I said, okay. Very non-confrontational. And I was driving his van. My car got destroyed in the relationship. And he had three vehicles. So I was driving his van, and I told him then, I said, well, your van is parked in front of my mom's house. Your keys will be inside. So you're going to lock my keys inside? I said, you got spare keys. You got 2 sets of spare keys. You got all the keys. So your van will be there. It'll be safe. Because my mom lived in a safe neighborhood. And that was it. I was done. He called and kept calling and kept calling and kept calling and kept calling to the point that my mom had to press charges against him. And, you know, we had to go before the court. And here again, he put on his little performance in court like he was terrified of us or something. And that got dismissed as well. And I didn't even really try fighting anything at that point, because in the year and couple of months that I was with this person, we had been to court at least a half dozen times. The first time was too much. It was too much. And yes, like as always, hindsight is 20/20. When you're living it, you keep hoping that you'll wake up and either one of several things will happen. You'll wake up and realize it was all a dream. You'll wake up and realize that you've blown things out of proportion. You'll wake up and this person will be changed or fixed. Or you'll wake up and that side of the bed will be empty. They'll just decide they've had enough and they're just gone. You know, why you feel like, why does the burden of leaving have to be on me? You know? I'm not the one inflicting harm, so why do I gotta go? I was going through my comments earlier, and someone said to me, and I absolutely love her for this. I did a short some time ago where I was saying to the Gen Xers that the baby boomers paved the way for them. And I respect the fact that our predecessors paved the way for us. But I look at all these TikToks and reels and shorts where Gen X is saying how, you know, hard they had it or how they were built for it tough because of what they went through. Baby. Oh my goodness. When they talk about drinking from the water hose, That was a luxury for us baby boomers, especially us baby boomers that came up in the country. Okay, we had the well. We had the well that had the cup of water beside it that you had to prime before. Oh, you don't know what a well is? Okay, well, let me see if I can describe it to you. It's this thing that's burrowed deep down into the ground that you have to siphon water from using a pump. So you're pumping. I'm pretty sure you all have seen nostalgia pictures of them. So you're pumping, well, if you don't prime it first, what do you mean prime it? You have to pour that water that's in the cup sitting beside it down the hole so it can tell the water, hey, this is what I need from you. Okay? So you pour it down the hole and then you're priming, and it's like, oh, okay. So then you start getting water up, and it comes through this long tube, and it siphons down the spigot, and you have what you're catching the water in at the end. You don't want to waste it. You don't want to waste it. You want to run just a little more than what you need because you have to fill the primer cup back up. But you Gen Xers got to go over to the house and turn on the spigot and get water. I know the Gen Xers remember the slip and slide. Our slip and slide was mud. And for us city country folks, our swimming pool was the flood that happened at the bottom of the block. All the kids put on their bathing suits and went down in the flood water and played. So don't talk about being built for it tough, baby. We know the kind of stuff that's in flood water. And we're here knowing what we know now. Will we do it again? Probably not. Probably not. But our parents and grandparents took care of it when we got in. When we came in the house. You don't stop until you get to the tub. Oh, and let me tell you about the tub, okay? Woo! For a while. Are you all familiar with those huge, oh my God, what did we used to call them? It was the water something. It's not the ones that burn it. It was the huge water tubs. They came in many different sizes. The water pails. You had that were, kind of yay big. Sometimes you could get the little novelty ones that were really small. And then they had them slightly bigger, like the wash tubs. That's what they were, wash tubs. And then they came like the really, really big ones. Some of them were long and oval, and some of them were round. Well, my cousin and I had a big round one, and we had to bathe together. Yeah, when Grandma Louise or my grandma would call us and tell us it was time for bath, yeah, she had primed the well, run the well water, boil the water so we could have some hot water in there with it too. Yeah, she did all of that. Either one of the she's did all of that. And then we had to get in there together and take our bath. Or the houses that didn't have, you didn't have a shower and you had to use a pot like a shower head. You had to dip the water and then pour it on it. Yeah. That's what we had to do, Gen X. I'm not knocking your hustle. I'm not knocking your grind. I'm not knocking any of that. I'm just saying, please stop putting it out here like y'all are the real OGs. We're not even the real OGs. We just paved the way. We respect those that came before us. Somewhere down the line, that started getting lost. I know somebody is saying, okay, Kittee, say how you really feel. Oh, boy. Well, okay, since you asked, now let me stop. Oh, my goodness. I'm almost finished with this third row already. I'll be the first to admit the elements are a little bit time consuming, but it's so worth it when you sit back and you look at the finished product. It is like so beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Okay, hold on. There we go. And I will do this last pass with you all. I will send you on your way so you can have a good day. I am on a roll now. That's a good thing because my back is saying, hey, 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 lady. What are you doing? I mean, 6, 7. Oh, Lord have mercy. I am not going to try to edit this at all. For some reason, I am losing. It's like some of the videos I try to edit go through without a hitch. The other ones get messed up. First of all, it starts with they don't upload. And then when I get them to the point where they will upload, there's either no volume or there's no movement. It's like the video will take a snapshot or a screenshot in the beginning, and then it just, the whole duration of the video, it's just showing that one frame. And like I said, there's no volume or anything. It's just there, just me sitting there staring at you. I know that's creepy, right? Ooh. So I am not going to try to edit this at all. When I upload it, I will try to remember to put everything in the description box. And that is the yarn used and the tutorial for the shells and the bay, which is the pattern. Let me know in the comment box if you would like to do a make along with one of these blankets. Because sometimes tutorials are great, but if you can actually work it out with the person, for some people, you know, that's the learning technique that's best for them. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And if I get enough feedback, I just might do that. I don't mind. Shorty, I don't. Nope, not at all. Just a little bit left to go. Y'all, my grandson struggles to say his L's. When I was a little girl, I struggled to not over enunciate my S's. I used to be really bad with the S's, and I'm dyslexic. So, my grandson will say, I love you. Oh my goodness. Grandma, have you seen my widow toy? Oh, I'm not supposed to laugh, but it's so cute. It is so cute. I'm coming up on the end of the blanket, or this row actually. not the blanket. That would be miraculous. That would actually be miraculous. So we're coming up on the end of the row. I'm sorry. Y'all, when I tell y'all I slept last night, I went to bed at 9 something. And I woke up about 11:30, got up, got dressed for bed, came back and laid down, woke up again at 1 something, got up, got me some water, and laid back down. Woke up again just before 4 a.m. Got up, went to the bathroom, got me some water, and laid back down. And then I got up again. I'm sorry, at 9:01. So these are where you see the pink and the red. That is what I've added so far today. So we have 4 rows of the 10 rows that I have to do in this colorway. My goal for today is to complete my 10 rows of the Flower Power, do 10 rows of the red, and four rows of the white. And that is my pattern. That's what I'll be working on. Forgive the yawning. Don't forget to love yourselves, because self-love is the greatest love of all. And you can't love others the way they deserve to be loved unless you first love yourself the way you deserve to be loved. Remember Kittee told you? Remember Kittee loves you. So, ooh, I look rough. So until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, peace out, everybody.